Hello, everyone. Good day, and I am your professor, Dr. Annabelle A. Gordonas, and this is our week 2, right? So, our topic today is titled Theories of Learning. I am pretty sure that you have this topic during your undergraduate, but I want to have a short review because in this time of pandemic, we need to always anchor on the foundational frameworks that we used to do so that we can possibly face the educational disruption that we are facing now. So I'll be dealing with the topics learning theories, traditional versus 21st century learning, the types of instructional media, and the factors affecting media selection. Okay? So let us first discuss what is a learning theory. So every day, as we struggle to be a teacher, we are also striving to become better and effective teachers. That's why uh, we are really doing our best not to compensate the fourfold functions of the teacher. That is for the instruction, uh, community extension services, research, and publication. So in the same way, when we do our job every day, learning is a continuous process. It's a long-running type of phenomenon where we are embracing it, and it's part of our passion and dedication. So, may I ask you first, what do we mean when we say learning theory? So, it is a coherent framework and set of integrated constructs and principles that describe, explain, or predict how people learn. Okay? Take a look at your lesson plans, right? I guess you're familiar with all of the constructs which are indicated in there. But if you're not going to go back and reflect on the learning theories, it's impossible for us to give the best effective teaching and learning for our students because as a teacher, we need to also embrace the past, which are considered to be relevant to how our students will be learning today and tomorrow. Okay, so there are certainly different learning theories that you know, and this time we'll have a short review on this. We have the behavioral learning theory, the cognitive learning theory, social, humanistic, and psychodynamic theory. Okay, so all these learning theories are considered to be crucial and trajectory to how our students learn every day. And it's our fundamental job how to find ways, strategies, and pedagogies to bridge the gap where our students will be able to nurture and embrace the theories and to that of the applications. The first theory is behaviorism. So this is actually popularized by B.F. Skinner and Ivan Pavlov. At the onset, accordingly, it states that all human beings have the capacity to have that blank slate process where the moment we grow up gradually, we are able to interact with other people, and for that, the stimulus and response that we learn from these people will be part of who we are as we grow up. Okay, and the same with that of our students. The trial and error mantra has been considered to be a vital element in the course of behaviorism theory. So I was mentioning about a while ago about B.F. Skinner, who is known for operant conditioning, where he postulated two reinforcements. The first one is the application of a pleasant stimulus. This is where the provision of the rewards is given to our students so that they could be exhibiting and executing the response that the teachers are expecting to have. Okay, so for example, when we let them do this, okay, you study this thing because I will be giving a certain reward. So naturally, our students are really active and doing such task. On the same, we also have the negative reinforcement, which is the removal of an aversive or unpleasant stimulus. Okay, so one famous or crucial conditioning is called escape conditioning, which is an aversive stimulus that is applied, and the organism makes a response that causes the unpleasant stimulus to cease. Okay, so for example, in our school, our principal or maybe your supervisors are asking a favor where students, no, may be given the chance to be exempted for their academic standing because they are attending sports competition, and for that they're bringing prestige to the school. No? So the principal or our bosses are telling us to give consideration to the students. So that's an example of a negative reinforcement. Okay. To wrap it up, behaviorism theory is about learning the behavior with the power of the stimulus response phenomenon. Okay, so we are doing this in our own context as a teacher, and it depends on us how to balance, no, the things that we do and produce and give to our students so that they are motivated to learn. The next one is classical conditioning by Ivan Pavlov, where he uses the analogy of the salivation of the dog. The moment it sees and eats the food, so it salivates. Okay, so you're familiar with this one, and I guess who could not forget Ivan Pavlov. The next one is cognitive learning theory. This is the opposite of the behaviorism. Okay, so cognitivists argue that all human beings have the capacity to learn using the mental processes. Cognition is considered to be the vital dimension, no, for a person to learn something. That is why thinking beyond thinking, no, is an essential component in this type of theory. And the activation of the prior knowledge to that of the construction of new fundamental learning and knowledge is reverberated to how a student is demonstrating it. No? And it's the job of every teacher, no, to tickle the senses of the students by providing suitable learning experiences, especially nowadays. We are about to transition to another learning milieu. Maybe we're going to use a modular, synchronous, or asynchronous. No? So I guess with the 3-month quarantine that we have experienced, you have already in mind what to do with your lesson. Okay, when we are basing on the cognitive learning theory, it's like a black box, no, that our brain is biologically wired that all of us have the capacity to learn, no? And it's based on the cognitive learning theory. One of the famous philosophers or theorists for this is Jean Piaget, who postulated the phenomenon that learning is an active process. The child should be given desirable learning experiences. It could be environmental, genetic, from the family, or anything else, thereby exhibiting, no, an effective teaching and learning experience. So we also have the social learning theory, and this is based on the fundamental belief that every child or every student needs to collaborate, needs to share to other students so that at the end of the day, he or she masters the self-leadership that he needs to empower. Okay? So famous for this type of learning theory is Albert Bandura, who posits that the behavior, you know, the behavior and the way we model are inseparable things, no, which are involved in this type of learning theory. The moment our students are copying the way we speak, the way we talk, the way we act, the way we respond to positive and negative stimulus, no, or stimuli, they are actually sometimes copying us or not. So as a teacher, our role is considered to be vital on how we are going to mold them positively and to become a better holistic learner that uh, we are expected them to fulfill at the end of maybe the lesson and etc. So it's our job as a teacher to discover in them and let them explore, to construct their own meaning and understanding by sharing it, by interacting with others, collaborating so that they are considered to be globally competitive individuals. Another famous theorist is Lev Vygotsky, who was famous for his social development theory. When we say social development theory, the role of the teacher and the students could never be separated. The teacher is there to guide and facilitate, and the students are given the sole authority, to exhibit flexibility in sharing and adapting to various types of environment. So it boils down to one question as to how are you uh, igniting the spark that your students need to perform whenever they're starting, to produce an output expected of them in your particular lesson. Okay, so the next is the theory of connectionism, where the famous for this type of theory is Edward Lee Thorndike, and he was able to actually introduce some of the laws. And famous for this are the three laws: the law of exercise, the law of the first one is actually the law of readiness, exercise, and the law of effect. So when we say law of readiness, it's where we balance and measure the learner's background, genetic makeup, learning profiles, learning styles, etc. And the next one is when we say law of exercise, you can never question, the importance of trial and error in the course of learning. Okay, so that's why when we want our students to master something, we let them do in craft and design, because it's where they adapt and learn and master the skill that they are expected to produce at the end of the semester of the year. And the last one is the law of effect. According to our Edward Lee Thorndike, motivation plays a crucial role, in the law of effect. When our students do not have the 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 fuel and the desire, to learn, sometimes it boils down to the teacher. So I hope when you start your online classes come August, you are prepared. You are able to study how to answer modular approaches. You're able to do a synchronous lesson. Everything, must be best facilitated by us so that we can give the best effective teaching and learning experience to our students. Everything is connected. Okay. We also have the conclusion of Thorndike, which says that animals learn solely by trial and error or reward and punishment. So this has a great corroboration with that of the principle of B.F. Skinner. We also have schema theory, which is popularized by David Rumelhart in 1980, okay, which illuminates the idea that every human being has the stored information in their brain, and it's their job to balance it out and spread it according to his or her own pace of learning. Okay, since he has already the knowledge stored within him, being maybe it's a block box, that is part of his system, part of his body. So there's a need for that student or for all of us to think and act and apply this so that we can develop and enhance our own learning. Okay, this is the same, no? When we let our students read something in the course of the reading comprehension, no? When they do have the capacity to uh, peruse a multitude of materials, they do have a wide vocabulary. So upon reading, it's not difficult and fiddly for us to adjust because they have already the stored information. It's a package, pre-word information that the teacher is there. It's a role to ignite that information. Okay, and the last one is the humanistic learning theory. Okay, this is actually my favorite learning theory because it is based on the fundamental belief that the child is given the sole authority of his own learning. Okay, it's our job to guide and facilitate them, and based on our undertakings that we are able to adjust from the various factors like their learning styles, genetic makeup, diversities, geographies, learning interest, readiness. So it's easy for us to collaborate with our students because the things that we introduce when it comes to learning content, materials, drills and activities, formative assessments are actually anchored on their needs and interests. So um, when we are using this type of learning theory, we're actually considering the nobility of being a teacher because we're considering our students to be the stars of the show, and we are not actually the stars in this situation. Okay, my dear teachers. So I hope from the theories that you have, you were able to get refreshed as to how you're going to adjust, no, to the new normal that we are experiencing nowadays. Okay, so when you're studying learning theories, never forget also the learning styles that we are ought to discover. I guess when I will be asking you, you have one learning style that you know. What would it be? Would you answer Howard Gardner? Yes, maybe, no, but there are several learning styles that we need to embrace. Okay, so what are learning styles? We all know our students learn different ways. Could be visual, kinesthetic. It depends, no, on their type of learning style that they are exhibiting in our own classroom situation. So where do learning styles come from? Why should teachers know about learning styles? Okay, why do we need to embrace it? So let me introduce you the first one, the Don and Don learning styles model, which is postulated on the idea that the teacher needs to uh, capacitate himself to discover how the student learns in terms of behavioral. No? It's where the students are learning in academics, co-curricular, and etc. How the student is responding emotionally in the classroom, is he exhibiting positive or negative reaction? How do this particular student is reacting to the negative uh, treatment of her classmates? Okay, and the last one is psychological. Okay, so these are the three things. So you can check on this and try to identify as to where you're going to adjust. Okay, we also have the curious onion model, which is divided into three cores. It's like an onion. Okay, this summarizes the cognitive personality style because there are students who would like to who can get easily the processing when they are closing their eyes, or maybe uh, it's easy for them to uh, process the discussion because they are listening to music. We also have information processing style, instructional preferences. Some of your students prefer online, modular, or asynchronous. So it depends on you, and be sure to always exhibit the needs assessment when you start your lesson. Um, if you were on our week one, we were using the Zoom, right? And oh my God, can you still recall the erratic movement of the internet connection? So That's why I'm recording our lecture today and without an audio recorded because uh, learning should be continuous. Okay. And although I am positive that maybe next week, no, the group one will have an online lecture, no, with their uh, topic, with their assigned topic. Okay. So we also have the left brain dominated versus right brain dominated, which is considered to be brain lateralized. So when we say left brainer, it means to say that you are an objective person. So you have the different characteristics, analytical thought. They have a detail-oriented perception. They are good in sequencing. They have a rational thought, verbal, cautious, good in planning, excellent in math and science, good in logic, rightful vision, right side motor skills. So who among you here can say that you are left brainer? We also have the right brainer per people, which describes the following characteristics: intuitive thought, holistic perception, the random sequencing, emotional thought, nonverbal, adventurous, impulse, creative, writing art, imagination, left field vision, and left side motor skills. So from this, I guess, when you try to discover, your students, for example, you have a 50, oh my God, 50 students in the class. So thereby, that's why the differentiated instruction is introduced and embraced in the K to 12 curriculum, because this is one way to answer the diversities of our students. No? So in this time of pandemic, also embrace the VUCA world. V stands for volatility, well, the time when change of speed is uncontrollable. Okay? Uncertainty. We are uncertain. Where do we find, or when do we find the vaccine, right? So can you recall, can you still recall the last day you had your face-to-face interaction, right? So complexity, things are becoming more and more complex. No? There are several things that need to be processed when it comes to doing the online teaching. No? And we also have ambiguity. So actually it becomes COVID, no, vocad. So the D is disruption. So in this time of pandemic, educational sector has been disrupted really, and billion, I think it's more than 1 billion students have been affected. And today, there are 198 countries, no, countries, uh, which really decide for school closures. So according to Mahatma Gandhi, we should be the change we wish to see the world. So one way to do that is to really embrace what's new and what's considered to be effective when it comes to effective teaching and learning nowadays. Okay, so we also have McCarthy's format system, which is divided into 4 circular quadrants. No, so this answer the questions why, what, if, how. It traverses the lots, going to the HOTS, no? Fundamental competencies of our students. It's where you let them maybe bridge the gap from embracing the theories, the information, the knowledge, the certain phenomenon that they need to store in their brain, so that at the end of the lesson, at the end of the day, they can bridge the gap and practice what they know, what they have here, and demonstrate such mastery. Okay, so that's McCarthy's format system. So what teaching methods and activities suit different learning styles? My dear students, we're going to have a game now. I want you to get your pen and paper because we are going to have this activity titled Your Personal Memory Profile. I'm going to give you 1 minute to get your pen and paper. Thank you so much. Okay, so I guess you have now your pen and paper, so we'll start with our game. Are you ready? So in this activity, you will be able to learn more about your own memory profile by completing different exercises and then plotting your scores to understand your own personal strengths and weaknesses. So at the end of the activity, you'll be able to fill in a chart that will show where your strengths and weaknesses lie. Because a greater awareness of your weaker areas can lead you to try out different methods to find strategies that you suit you personally. And most importantly, this is also a great demonstration of awareness, where you are in terms of adjusting, no, in your own classroom routine as we transition to flexible learning. It's not about you, no. Most importantly, it's for our students. So we are going to assess the areas of assessment when it comes to short-term memory, long-term verbal, visual memory, and the memory for facts. So where are your weaknesses? Are you ready? So I have here, do not take a picture, okay? I want you to memorize these numbers in a count of 1 to 15. Okay, ready? Do not take picture and do not write. Just memorize. Go! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So this time, stop. So again, I will count 1 to 15 for you to write on your paper the numbers that you can recall. Are you ready? Okay, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Stop. Okay, so for now, let's check your work. So we have here the numbers. So from checking, I guess, may I show your score where you are in terms of short-term memory? So less than 5, it means you are poor. 5 to 9, average. And more than 9, it means you are good. So who got poor? Who got a poor score? Kindly write your score in our discussion forum. If you would like to share, I would really appreciate it. Okay? So I have here another set of words for you to memorize, like an account of 1 to 15. No writing first, in no picture taking. Okay, so are you ready? In a count of 1 to 15, memorize all these words. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Stop. Okay, so for now, I want you to write all the words that you can recall in a count of 1 to 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, my dear teachers, I want you to write to check your work. Okay, so let me show your score. So less than 5, it means you are poor. 5 to 9, average, and more than 9 is good. So congratulations if you got more than 9. But if you have that less than 5 score, well, I don't know. How are you going to reflect on that? I hope you learned the lesson from this activity. So next, are you ready? I have here, just a summary of the things that we did. Again, you're likely to have remembered between 5 and 9 items. So if you have noticed, there is actually a pattern in the words. Okay, so if you look closely, you will see that the words can be divided into 4 categories. There are furniture, clothing, transportation, okay, and what else? Toys. So one of the easiest ways of improving memory is to group items together in categories. So this reduces the memory load, making remembering easier. So you can also teach your students how to do this, because sometimes they are answering examinations. So this is one way, to value and exhibit memory lane during examination. Okay? So I have here another activity for you to do. Do not take picture, do not write, just memorize what you see in the picture. I'm going to count 1 to 15. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, stop. So I want you to write all the things that you see in the picture in a count of 1 to 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So I want you now to have a closer look in this question. So I will be giving you 1 to 15 to memorize all these questions. Can you do that? Okay, so I'm going to count 1 to 5. Just memorize first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bonus. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, stop. I want you to write all the questions that you can recall in a count of 1 to 15. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, stop. So now I have here the picture for you to maybe match the questions that you have written and the words that you have found, no, based on our activity. Okay, so I'm going to give you a 15 count again to match your answer, okay, from the questions and the words that you have written. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So here is again the last question, no, for you to answer. So I want you to answer now, no, the questions in a count of 1 to 20. Okay, so are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so let's answer now. No, this is the final showdown of your visual memory for facts. So let's answer the first question. How many people were in the queue for the bus? So we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6. What was the man with the bow tie carrying? So he's carrying umbrella here. Another one. What color was the sports car? So it's blue or violet. So it's here. Sorry. And then the other one, the other question, what was advertised on the bus? So it's circus. Okay? It's circus or carnival. And the next one, what was the third shop from the left selling? So 1, 2, 3, tools, or hardware. Okay? Next, we also have, why had the traffic stopped? So it's a pedestrian lane, this one. Okay? And another one, what was the last person in the bus queue holding? Okay, so he's holding a newspaper. How many shops were there? So let's check. So there are actually 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What was the weather? It's sunny. Sorry. What was directly behind the bus? So it's a bicycle, this one. And what was the shop on the right selling? So it's burgers or cakes or pastries. Okay. So how are you with your score, my dear students? So let's check. Less than 5, it means you are poor. 69, average and more than 9, it means you are good. Okay, let's try to check. So I hope you can share your score and maybe have a snapshot, no, in our Schoology virtual class. So see how much you can improve your memory by learning. Did you really improve your learning, my dear students? Because we keep on repeating, right? So repeat the task and see if you can improve on your original score. If you do not, if you do the test for the third time, you may find that you improve even more. So here we can infuse, no, the theory of Edward Lee Thorndike, and that is the law of exercise. The last game is short-term memory. I want you to uh, list, to read first, no, in a count of 1 to 15, and then after that, you're going to do something, okay? So please read the story. So I guess you have already perused, no, this short story. So I want you to write everything that you can recall from this story in a count of 1 to 15. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now listen, this is crucial. You are going to write your words in our discussion forum. Okay? I will just post a thread, no, or some instruction for you to post your answers on your score. Okay, do not um, be truthful with your score. I will not be discouraged if you got a low score. Okay, just be honest, and I would be very much happy if you can post it in our discussion forum. Okay, so here it is, less than 5, 15. Let's check once again your score. So please check your work first. So let me show you your score. Would you have less than 15 is poor, 16 to 25 average, more than 25 is good. Okay? So, to sum up, most people will remember the gist of the story in some detail, but it is very hard to remember such story word for word. So our memories are not like recordings, and they don't need to be. When we are reading books and newspapers, most of us tend to remember the gist rather than the precise wording. So this is because although the words are important, our memory span is limited. So words become a route for a story, and hence we remember only the gist. Luckily, what is important is what the words convey and not necessarily the words themselves. So I hope you get a lesson from this story. It's time for us to be open-minded because we are in the age of openness. With the flexible learning activities that we are embracing, we need to be sharing, because education should be sharing. I hope you will embrace this principle so that we can be successful. And the last one is the multiple intelligences by Howard Gardner. So according to this theory, we are all able to know the world through language, logical, mathematical analysis, spatial representation, musical thinking, the use of the body to solve problems or to make things, and understanding of other individuals and an understanding of ourselves. So I will not be explaining this one by one because you are aware of the things, no, that you see when it comes to multiple intelligences. Just one thought lang, no? Because we sometimes bully those who are intrapersonal. But don't you know that those researchers, authors of the book, IT analysts, astronauts, There's our people are actually from the intrapersonal, no? So never underestimate each of these individual who have distinct, no, differences when it comes to learning, because you can never tell their future stance. That's why we need to model as a teacher. So for now, let me share this one to you. I guess you're familiar with this adage, which says, if we teach today as we taught yesterday, we rob our children of tomorrow. So for the 3-month duration of lockdown, we have learned heaps of materials and resources. No, actually, I gave up already. For now, I stopped webinars, but it took me 2 months maybe to embrace, always watch, get my certificates. But for now, I stopped because I focus on the modular uh, crafting and designing already. So I hope you're doing it too. But if you'd like to attend webinars, then you may. But you should set a priority. You should have a mindset that come August, you'll be prepared. Right now, you're studying, so you need to have that balance of your time when it comes to prioritizing, no? The 4 priority matrix that you need to embrace. You do have very urgent, no? Meron namang not urgent, like Facebooking sometimes, not ano, no? Pero sometimes it's important then. That's why balancing is the key. So the emergent technologies in the classroom nowadays has been intensified because of COVID-19. Okay, so there is the paradigm shift when we try to uh, iwanan muna si face-to-face because it's not possible for now. That's why we take it slow, one step at a time. I know you have heaps of things, especially when it comes to what type of app that you will use. Ako, marami akong i-share for our next lesson. But my dear students, my advice is for you to choose the best app. Just one app, one LMS, one format. It depends on you. Basta your students can adjust, and be sure to always consider the ease of access, the internet connection, and etc. So, the way we test, right? Noon, meron tayong pencil and paper test, and we can also have ULO, the scansion paper, right? And now, online assessment na. So, what type of online assessment do you have in mind to use in your classroom situation? So, the classroom condition nowadays, from the traditional to that of the new normal, which is using computers, gadgets, etc. Our Philippine government has been very active in helping the teachers and students. Oh, it's not perfect, but you have seen some of the mayors have been very initiative when it comes to extending their help toward maintaining that flexible learning in the new normal. So do you allow this, taking notes, picture taking? I do not allow that when my students uh, are in the college now, because they need to demonstrate hard work and resilience in studying. We were used to that, right? So I'd advise uh, for you to also instill in them the sense of hard work and dedication in their work. So perspective in teaching before, it's ethereal for us. How do I imagine myself as a teacher? However, we do have different pressures. We do have the gorillas. No, first we do have the administrators, the parents, the students. No, so how do we adjust to these types of pressures that we embrace every day? Tapos wala pa tayong laptop, wala pang internet connection is a problem. So it's quite not a bed of roses type of life, especially now in time of pandemic. That's the reality. And if we don't have a balanced mindset, how to change this problem into a positive one, then could not really cope up with it. That's why our mental state should also be revisited and intensified and taken care of, because we do have heaps of priorities for now. Okay, so traditional teachers are lecturers, teacher-centered, they're using traditional content, the chalk and paper materials. No? But for contemporary teachers, they are facilitators, and that should be our role. It depends on the subject, but it's not all about us already. It's all about our students. Okay, contemporary content, high-tech materials. Traditional learners, passive, dependent, time-based, pen and paper. But for now, our students are actually digital natives already. They are advanced than their teachers. They're collaborative, project-based. Um, they are well communicated. They do have the confidence, no, in facing everyone, because they are trained to do that. And in the course of the instructional media that we need to embrace, how do we find ways and alternatives, no, to support the materials that are pivotal in our teaching and learning situation. So when we are talking of instructional media, we are considering audio, visual, and tactile. Okay? So when we say audio, we do have, naturally, the first one is the teacher's voice, but if you're using synchronous, you can actually download several apps like the Anchor that I used to tell you, and publish it in different audio um, websites like Spotify. Audio cassettes, do you still have this one? Audio CDs, language labs, and radio. Okay. We also have visual, chalk, whiteboards, objects, models, pictures, diagrams, slides, silent films. We also have tactile for working models, equipment, simulators, interactive software. So, ayan. So the Department of Education has been using the DepEd Commons, and this is actually a great platform where students will be given the chance to access their materials and basically respond to the type of the learning content, materials, resources, assessment that the teacher is preparing, where students can do that in their own time, pace, place, and study. Now let me share with you the factors in media selection. Okay. So why do we use instructional media? First is to create impact. It should be impactful, where students at the end of the lesson feel the empowerment and the discovery, you know, to acquire and practice this learning into their own context, to focus attention and support learning. So we have here several factors: physical condition, availability, practical constraints, learner factors, and we do have organizational issues and the function, or the teacher function. So when you say physical condition, since face-to-face is not ready for now, so how do you introduce yourself to your students when you use synchronous learning? When you use asynchronous learning, we use modular. So when you use modules, right, you are considered to be friendly, and it's as if you are talking to them when you are making the modules. So nowadays we have faced a certain pandemic, so I hope you are going to be demonstrating the sense of compassion and kindness that our students need to also let them feel, no, that the teachers are really having this type of compassion toward them. We also have availability, so the ease of use, the internet connection, how do we cope up with, actually, yun nga, I remember our Zoom meeting last week, for me, it's terrible kasi my internet connection was terrible. So, for now, we do not meet via Zoom because I have a problem with internet connection. But I'm seeking ways how to do, or maybe catch up with a good Wi-Fi connection. The third is, we have here the learner factors, right? So I keep on repeating that we need to identify our students' diversities in the classroom? How do we design differentiated instruction type of activities? Are we planning to do a collaborative learning, individual assessment, or etc.? How do we deal with this type of pressure, especially in this flexible learning approach? Learner factors, yeah. That's why I introduced to you different learning styles, the learning theories, because we need to also have a short revisitation of those things. Organizational issues. We have bulk of work that we are uh, expected to perform. Mga forms, modules, research, students. No, these are the pressures that we embrace every day, and how do we cope up with that? So, a balanced mindset is a necessity for all of us. If you don't uh, face it at all, there would come a time that you find it quite fiddly. And the next one is teaching function. We should always remember that nobody could replace the role of the teacher. We are still the best source of knowledge and purveyor of wisdom. So we should never let our students feel that we are not there whenever we have the synchronous, asynchronous, and modular approaches, because at the end of the day, it's our job, to let them experience the self-managing life that they are expected to be, of course, with our facilitation and guidance. So that ends our lecture about learning theories, my dear students. I am I am hopeful that you have learned lessons. You were able to review once again the theories that you used to embrace when you were in your college. And let's try to reflect and revisit again our role in this type of educational disruption. Because when the curveball of COVID-19 has thrown at us, everyone was affected, especially our students. I hope you develop in you that empathy were the most important person, and that our students shall be guarded and they are given the chance to experience the two things. Okay, first, must love, and second, must love and bloom. And for that, thank you so much, my dear students. And if you have questions, we are ready for our discussion forum in our Schoology account. Maraming salamat po.